Hello, boss.
Hi. You made a surprising opening remarks. Yeah?
Very surprising.
Right.
Okay, because listen, when I first interviewed you, so I interviewed you first in November 26, 2020. This was us during the pandemic, looking really sad, and the world was in lockdown. You were 5 months into your new role as president and CEO, and now you're my boss. So could you tell us the reason why, behind this move, and your vision for the future?
Thank you. I didn't expect this myself.
Come on, you must have made the decision, right?
Yes. But that was a really tough time when we first met in 2020. Everybody suffered because of the pandemic, and we recovered. Everyone made a great effort and a lot of progress, and finally the trouble became like this, very active, and I'm so happy to see lots of people's smiley faces today. And you're always asking a straightforward question to me, why
why
did this? The reason was quite simple. I wanted to make the tourism industry more value-added and better. Simply because of this, I really wanted to work with the North Star Travel Group. Looking back 20 years ago, when the internet happened, travel industry has been developed a lot, changed, and lots of things became easier, like a booking process is much easier for the people, and lots of information is distributed to all over the world. This happened because of internet, and this was really good. But if we take a look at the industry itself, we're still struggling to find out what the added value is like, and what the more efficient workflow is like. Still, the productivity of tourism industry is very low compared with others, and that resulted in the lower salary, for example, for the employee all over the world. Although more than 10% of the people are engaged in the tourism industry in the world, and lots of GDP is generated throughout the world, but still, as an industry, we need a lot more things to do. And North Star Travel Group is a very excellent company, acting as the tourism media at the same time holding the event like this. And this is the proof that this has the intelligence, which is really necessary in the industry in order to make the technology deployed in the industry, in order to make the more value-added products made. So North Star Travel is the essential part of my vision, our vision to make the tourism better. Right?
Okay, so you feel that, North Star Travel Group's media business, intelligence business, as well events business can really add value to JTB Corp. Because I remember speaking to you, I think it was 2 years ago, and you did talk about your vision of, really for the future of JTB Corp, and especially in the events business. I think you're very excited about the MICE business. So, so I hope you will treat us kindly.
Right.
I know you will.
Right.
No, but I have to say that no one was more surprised than me. But when then I started thinking back, because I've been interviewing Yamakita-san for a few years, and then the dots started connecting, and I go, it kind of makes sense. So I just want to thank you for giving us a new chapter in the next 20. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we're going to get into, we're going to stop talking about us now. We're going to talk about Japan. We're going to talk about Japan inbound. And so you had 36.8 million in 2024, and you're estimating 40.2 in 2025, projecting 60 million by 2030. That's the trajectory of Japan's inbound. So you've prepared 2 slides here. Can you take us through them and tell us what are the key takeaways you'd like us to take away with. So that's one slide. Yeah.
Well, sorry, the number unit is like 10,000, so it's like a little bit tricky to see the number. But obviously, Japan is aiming 60 million in 2030, which is a big number. But the trend was like this, 20 years ago, Japan trip was very small number, right? But because of the great effort of the government and the industry, Japan infrastructure to accept the foreign visitors improved a lot. But because of pandemic, dropped like this, but now it's like this. But left-hand side, if you take a look at the world, Spain accept 80 million, right? And France accept 100 million, right? And compared with the population where they live, it's like 176% in Spain, but the Asian countries, including Japan, is very low compared with the population, with 120 million people living in Japan, but accepting only 36 million, right?
Right. Those numbers are really, really interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of puts into context, right? The percentage to population. I think that shows that there's room to grow. So that's the point, that there is absolutely room to grow, even though everybody talks about over-tourism, but actually it is just poor distribution of tourism. Okay, so let's go to the second slide, which is about hotel occupancy rate versus inbound share by prefecture. So can you put that into context for us, please?
Yeah, there is obviously the concentration where to visit, like Tokyo, Osaka, big balloon, spending a lot, and people are rushing into the big cities like this. Particularly this year we had the World Expo in Osaka. A lot of tourists is coming to Osaka, maybe visiting Kyoto, but never visit other local cities where we have an abundance of, it's not only sightseeing sport, but the gastronomy, adventure travel, a lot of resources are in the local cities, but still limited.
So still a lot of room to grow. Clearly, the key issue is, again, distribution of tourism. All right.
Yeah.
So in the next 20, what number do you think it could grow to inbound? If you're targeting 60 million by 2030, let's say by 2045, the next 20, what number would you say Japan could reach out to?
20 years, I would say it's going to be 100
million?
100 million, like France. And
okay.
There is a potential like this.
Okay, we'll meet again and then we'll see if that, right? Okay, but clearly, again, we talked about dispersal, right? So this is a big, I know that you talk a lot about it, and JTB has really been investing in regional communities. You've been investing in all that, right? So again, is there a model you think Japan can develop to share best practices? Because we have other places that are also like Spain, and we're seeing protests. So is there a model Japan could develop to share best practices to avoid conflict between locals and tourists?
Yeah. There are a lot of things to learn from Spain and France, and I traveled a lot within the country. They created a very attractive resources in the local cities, like when traveling from Bordeaux to Marseille, for example, there are a lot of places to visit, like Denim, Pont de Gard, Cape Lascaux, lots of things. Carcassonne, all different. Famous for the wine and famous for the foie gras, but not only for the food and Roman culture. Everything is included in this route. Japan has it looks like a very narrow island, but 3,000 kilometers vertically, horizontally. So it's a big island, and the season is very different from north to south. And in Okinawa, we can enjoy the tropical seasons all the time, and Hokkaido, a lot of powder snow, beautiful lakes over there. So a very different seasonality, very different food. So Japan has a very much potential for the future. So, but it is needed to develop such contents of the reason for people to visit, and plus the mobilities are very important, and technology should be implemented because it's very difficult for the local community to accept the foreign visitors because of the language barrier, because of the culture difference, right.
So it's not just, so it's, Japan has the opportunity to develop sort of different precincts, as you say, defined by whether it's food or based on the seasonality, and then developing the mobility, but local infrastructure. So I know that you're a big domestic traveler yourself, and you have visited all 47 prefectures in Japan, right? So you went to a small town in Kyushu, I think Oita, is it called? In Kyushu,
Oita,
right?
yes.
And you gave a talk on tourism to the local community. What was the local sentiment like to foreign visitors? Were they welcoming? How do you prepare small towns like this for foreign travelers?
It was a very small town in Oita Prefecture, which is located the eastern side of Kyushu Island, which is, maybe the name is not known. Nobody here would say that Uzuki town, right? This is a very small town, but very beautiful one. Old town, beautiful street, and the 200 years, 300 years ago, I established a nice castle, which is broken, but still the beautiful place. And the food, like a browfish. Have you eaten a browfish? Browfish is one of the famous gastronomy in Japan, but
sashimi.
Every kind of food could be possible by the browfish. That was made for sashimi and maybe the lakpot, these kind of things.
You can tell that he's a foodie, right? You can tell he's a foodie.
Foodie. Yeah, that's true. So this is really famous for Japanese, certain Japanese, but not famous at all for the foreign visitors. So they're struggling to welcome the foreign visitors. Only few people is visiting this city, although this is a very nice one. So I was asked by the mayor to speak something, right? I suggested they should work together with the other cities, right? Rather than saying, visit my town, this is not possible. So likewise, combining with other cities in Oita and Kyushu, there's a big mountain like Aso, right, in the Kumamoto prefecture. Next one, where it's caldera, a volcanic experience is possible.
So they can develop a route around their area,
right,
and then work with other people. So one of the things you say the most challenging is collaboration, which Singh just now talked about. Like we really need people to get together with people, to solve common problems, right? So that's a key one. Okay, so now let's move on to outbound. Outbound remains sluggish, I think, out of Japan, right? Although you are projecting a small growth to 14.1 million in 2025, if I'm not mistaken. But you see opportunities in outbound. So don't write off Japan as an outbound market. You've also prepared 2 slides. So let's look at the slides and talk to us about the opportunities in Japan outbound.
Outbound, 41 million people is traveling outside of Japan. It sounds like a very small number, but a big number actually. But compared with the population, 120 million, it's a very, stagnated at this moment after pandemic. But the trend is obvious. But you highlighted in red, the female travelers
always
are very active, and this is not because of pandemic. This is the general trend all the time. But the current trend is the polarization. The rich group is traveling a lot to Europe, although the tour price is almost double as before, right? Because of the weak Japanese yen, because of new prime minister. and was again that depreciated. So it's more difficult for Japanese to travel to Europe, but still rich people are traveling, spending a lot of money. Okay? But the younger generation, we need to create a reason to travel. This is another active part of travelers. But what we do is something like creating an event for the student in Singapore, for example. It's been 10 years already. We conducted the Global Link project, where we invite the junior high, senior high student from Japan and Asian countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Bangkok, from Thailand, like this. 400 people get together this time. By creating this kind of reason to travel, people started to travel, but still the number is limited.
But you have to give them a reason to travel, and people are actually traveling by reason too.
Yes.
I mean, whether it's student travel, sports tourism, Japan is huge, right? Sponsorship of the major league baseball. You sponsored that, right?
Yes.
Was that more? Does that cost you more than buying North Star Travel Group? Sorry.
I don't say. The answer.
All right. Okay.
Yes, that costs a lot anyway, right? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move to the next slide, which is really interesting. This one, the passport ownership rate of Japan. I mean, talk to us about that. That's 17% of Japanese own passports.
Yes. Isn't it a surprising number? Right?
Is it surprising to you?
Yeah,
It's surprising, right?
Surprising number, right?
I kind of assumed it would be higher because Japan is such a huge outbound market, has been in Asia for many years, but only 17%.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really the headache. After pandemic, it dropped like this. But even before pandemic, a Japanese passport holding ratio was something like less than 30%. US is quite low, but still Japan is lower than that.
Right.
And 70% is meaning that the people living in the metropolitan area, like Tokyo, Osaka, they hold a passport like 28, 30%, a little bit more, meaning the local city, people living in the local cities only hold 5% or less. So never travel outside of Japan. Reason for that is, firstly, because the Japan destination is attractive. No need to go out.
Absolutely.
People tend to think like that.
Yeah.
It's not like before. Second reason is there's no chance to go out, right? So before pandemic, almost all school programmed some sort of the training excursion, right, for the student. In that occasion, people get a passport anyway, right? So passport holding does not necessarily mean that people start traveling, but if they have the passport and they have some experience outside of Japan, then they will repeat that.
You just need to get them to travel the first time, and then they're hooked, right? So how can the industry solve this, right? So how can you, Rakuten, the whole industry get together to incentivize Japanese to get more passports? What about if you said, get a passport and then get a free trip?
That costs a lot. Yeah, of course. Yeah, actually, we've been giving. The government is also supporting to some extent to make the passport fee free. Like it costs something like $100, right, to obtain the passport. It's very expensive in Japan, by the way. So that should be subsidized by a private company like us, plus discount for the travel. No free of charge, but
free trip. A free trip will do it.
Yeah, but this is of course one action. But what is more important is to create a reason to travel, right? This is more important because of the major league sponsorship, for example. People travel to Los Angeles. This is kind of booming destination for Japanese.
Yeah.
Although it costs a lot to travel, not only for the logistics, but for the hospitality program, which is sold like more than $10,000 per person, right? But still, the people are ready to pay, right?
Right.
Right.
So if you create the right reason, they will travel. So you and the whole industry, plus maybe people here need to create the right reasons, because it is in our interest to really, increase that number for the good of the industry for the next 20. All right. So we've also heard about Japan's population shrinking and aging, like me, and that 1 in 3 people are now aged 65 and over, right? But there's a trend. I've been following on Instagram this couple. Have you all seen this couple? Bon Pon? So they're grandfluencers, and they really are so cool. And they show that old is cool. So do you follow them, first of all?
Yes,
You do?
I
Okay. All right. So tell us about this trend, this young at heart, active seniors. Is that a big market for JTB?
Yes. After the baby boomer generation is almost retiring for traveling habit, but still this active senior generation expanding up to 80, 85, right? And people like this are now good at expressing themselves, because the, common sense in the past is when you get old, people stop traveling. People stop talking about like this, right? But nowadays, because of the social media, it is possible. Everybody can express their feeling, right? This is really good trend, and I like it.
I think you should start your own Instagram account. All right, so let's talk about. You have visited 60 countries, right? And they're officially, apparently, according to ChatGPT, 195 recognized countries in the world. So you're 2/3. Why do you travel? What reason do you travel for?
Mainly because of food and the culture, myself.
I knew
right?
food
as,
would come
as
into
everybody
it,
does, right? But particularly, I like the architecture, right? Whatever, it's a building, old house and a bridge and whatever. Architecture, I like it. It's very different country by country. So,
okay, food, culture, and architecture. Okay, so now let's talk about the next 20. Okinawa is in the blue zone. Singapore is also in the blue zone. So if there were a blue zone for travel, JTB would be one of them, because you founded in 1912, making you one of the oldest travel agencies, I think, in Asia and the world, right? How do you transform a legacy like this? What's the hardest thing? Is it tech? Is it culture? Is it mindset?
The most difficult thing is the mindset, I believe. Mindset, to change mindset for the old company. It's not easy because people stick to the success story in the past, right? But it is, in a sense, very good. People have some identity. This is very good. But as input as much as possible the information, the new technology, and what you do, is really important. And as I said, the intelligence is extremely important. This is not only the expertise, but the insight. This part is extremely important. So keep inputting this kind of thing. This could change the mindset of the culture of the company. Right?
Okay. So Japan, people have been so inspired by Japan, right? From Steve Jobs to William Gibson, art, culture, philosophy, fashion, innovation as well, inventions, manufacturing. What do you want Japan to give the world in the next 20?
Well-being. This is well-being, happiness
Zen.
part. This is what Japan needs to present to the world. This consists of course, a good food, nice safety life, and the resilience, sustainability, all involved for the making the well-being atmosphere, right? So I want to develop this part of, spiritual feeling, these kind of thing in Japan and expand that to the world. Yes.
Right, that's interesting because Make My Trip, Deep Kaira, yesterday too, talked about, the rise of spiritual and sort of well-being tourism for India as well, which is very rich, and Japan certainly has that. Okay, so let's wrap up with rapid fire. What would be, I think my Japanese was really bad, and AI is probably better. I should try that. But what would be a good Japanese saying to adopt for the next 20 with our audience?
Life is a journey.
Life is a journey.
Life is a journey, and let your children experience and the trouble in the world. This is in a Japanese way, 人生は旅. Life is journey, and the other one is the 可愛い子には旅をさせろ. Let your children travel a lot. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the one thing you hope never changes in travel?
Sorry?
What is the one thing you hope never changes
Never
in
change.
travel?
Okay. Never change. Never change in the world. I think the joy, and perfect moment. This is our brand slogan, by the way.
Oh.
Perfect moment always. Perfect moment never changes in the trouble.
Lovely. What's the one thing you hope for in the new JTB North Star relationship?
You stick to that point. All right. Enrich the tourism. This is
Enrich tourism.
Enrich the tourism together. Yes.
So if you could write one headline about Japanese travel in 2045, what would you want it to say?
Travel to moon.
Travel to the moon.
Right. Travel to the space. Yeah, I think that's possible in 20.
Yeah, travel to space.
Yes.
Please join me in thanking my new boss. Be nice, be loud. No.
Thank you.
Yamakita-san, thank you so much.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you.
you.
Thank you. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
For the next 2 hours.